Hi, so this time we are going to look at exception handling. So there are several cases in our implementation where error might occur like unexpectedly. For example, if we want to read some image file or some text files, but it does not exist in the file that we look into. So in such cases, we have to handle this exception gracefully. So we need to decide what to do for the program when something wrong happens. So now I will show you two ways of doing this. The first way is to use the throws keyword. So throws keyword will give the responsibility of handling the exception to the method which calls us. And the second method we can do is try catch block. So if anything goes wrong in the try block, we can handle it at the catch block. So I will show you both methods in this video. Let's say if we have a do bad thing method which actually do nothing but just throwing the exception to the program. So let's say if it throws something like exception, we'll call it a new exception. As you can see, we have a message here. I just do that thing. Yeah, something like this. So this will ensure that our method will definitely return an error. And why is it there's a red line? Because the exception is not being handled. So like I mentioned just now, we have two ways of handling this exception. The first way is we use a try catch. Yeah, but in this case, I'm going to leave the responsibility of handling this exception to our main method, which we call as like here. So how to give the responsibility to the main method? As I mentioned, we need to use the keyword throws. So I will throw any exception. So this is the class name for the exception that I mentioned to the Java that I want to give the responsibility of handling to here. So as you can see, the error here gone, but here comes an error because the exception is not being handled in the main method. So if we want it to handle, we can actually like still using the throws exception from here, so it will not show error anymore because we don't want to handle the exception actually. But here I'm going to use a try catch. So try catch is a keyword where we put everything that might have error in the try block and we catch the exception in the catch block. Inside the parentheses, we'll put the error type. So exception is actually the most generic one. There's the most general exception that we can throw, like it doesn't show anything actually. So I will just catch the exception with the variable e. So this is something like a parameter. And what we are going to do with the catch, we can actually do nothing. So we will definitely like, if there's an exception, do nothing. So we can try running it. Java. As you can see, I definitely do nothing because the catch is empty. But if I want to print the error message, I can do e.print stack trace. So this will actually print the message that the exception has. So we can see. Yeah, it will throw the exception with message I just doing bad things. So this is how we throw an exception in the case where we don't want. For example, if I have a parameter here with x, so I want to say if x is greater than 10, then I want to throw the exception. So let's say if the bad thing, the x is 5, so it will not throw exception because we didn't hit the condition. Yeah, but if we have something like 12, then it will throw the error. Yeah, so this can ensure that our program run as expected. So if let's say if we want to do some validation and the validation fails, we can actually throw the exception to be handled gracefully in the any place which causes. Yeah, so that's it for error handling. See ya.